Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be looking at a crazy comeback I've had. Now, if you've ever played auto chess before, you will definitely have run into this sort of situation. After 3 rounds of shopping, you probably amassed 3 different units. In my case, I had Axe, Slardar, and Shadow Shaman. And then the 4th shop turns up absolutely blank. None of the 3 heroes that I was collecting shows up, nor are there any synergies at all. Having Axe, I was hoping for either an Orc or a Warrior synergy since I had Slardar as well as my second Warrior, but nope, there are no synergies at all. As you know, by the time round 4 rolls around, you want to have at least a 2-star unit or some sort of synergy going, otherwise you're going to get utterly crushed because it's going to be player versus player rounds from here on out. We now enter round 5 and well, the good side is we do find a 2-star unit in Shadow Shaman, but being one of the weaker $1 units and not having any synergy with my team, I expect that we'll still lose the next battle no matter what we do. So one of the key aspects of staging a comeback in this game is to lose by as small a margin as possible. This way you lose less health, and this means that you buy yourself more time to assemble the pieces you need. What you can see here is that I originally had 2 enchantresses on my bench. I sold one of them to get up to $5 so that I could hit the plus EXP button. This is something I usually do on round 5 when you've just hit level 4. By increasing your EXP here, you'll go straight up to level 5, giving you 1 extra population. Having an extra unit on the board allows you to lose battles with a smaller margin. You can see here I lost to my opponent 0-3. Might have been worse had I not opened up the extra population to begin the battle 5v4. Yeah, it's quite embarrassing. I'm losing a 5v4 battle. That's how dire the situation is. Things did not get better, as you can see. The round 6 shop did not offer me any synergies at all. I was going for warriors and orcs, but they just don't show up. I have a timber sword, so I could go for mechs, but there isn't a second mech to be had. Sometimes you just bump into these sorts of unlucky games. And yeah, sometimes you just lose because of it. But we still will try to make the best of a poor situation. I think in such an instance, a lot of players will be tempted to save up their economy and, try to weather the storm and go for 50 gold to get maximum income. However, I think leveling up very aggressively is very important even if you're losing. Again, the first thing is increases your population cap, and that helps you lose battles with a lower margin. But more importantly, by leveling up quicker, you'll get faster access to high-level units. Don't forget, every time the higher your level, the more expensive units you are more likely to see in the shop. So getting access to these $3 and $4 units is the key to making comebacks in this game, because if you're missing out on 2-star units, the next best thing you can do is to buy yourself some good $3 and $4 units, those rated very highly on the tier list. Sadly for us, we are not getting there. It's round 8. Our 2 stars are lousy. Still don't quite have any synergies other than the troll synergy. Here you have Witch Doctor, you have Shadow Shaman. So yeah, we're just going to be bunkering down here. But as a general rule, I will try to level up at the key points. That is to say, once at level 4 and then once at level 5 to go up to level 6. Soon you'll see that I will level up when I have 4 out of 8 experience on level 5. By gaining 4 experience, I'll go up to level 6, raising the population cap yet again. Again, the objective here is not to win subsequent battles. We know our team is under-equipped. Other players are getting strong units like Shadow Fiends and Kunkkas, but we are stuck with $1 and $2 units. So we know we are not going to win even if we go up to 6 population here. But the point is to lose less, right? Hopefully we lose by a margin of at most 1 or 2 heroes. And yeah, to give ourselves a better shot at rolling high cost heroes. As you can see, I'm going for orcs and trolls at this point. I've assembled axe and beastmaster, so with the orcs going, and we also have a couple of trolls in the witch doctor and the shadow shaman. Now, as you know, a key part of the trolls is the troll warlord. That is the one key piece that will hold you back or rather it will make or break your troll game, because if you don't find a troll warlord, you may as well not have a troll synergy. But if you do find it and you get a 4 troll bonus, it is going to be pretty insane. So as you see here, I'm grabbing the Bat Rider from the shop because I know that is what I'm going to aim for. Now let's take a look at trolls and see why they are one of the, if not the best archetypes to go for in auto chess right now. Troll synergy is very powerful because the bonus that it grants you applies to your entire team. Specifically, 30% extra attack speed translates to 30% more attack damage. That is a huge number. And this is what sets it apart from other damage increasing bonuses like Assassins and Hunters. Both of those only operate within that synergy. So only Hunters and Assassins respectively get the damage bonus. Whereas for Trolls, if you have all 4 Trolls, your entire team benefits from the Troll benefit. And you know, when you get to the late game, when you have 9 or 10 units on the table, that adds up to a lot of extra damage. The other extra point is that within the trolls themselves, there is one particular troll, the Troll Warlord himself, that hugely benefits from the additional attack speed because it is already a powerful damage unit. If you look at Troll Warlord's base stats, even at just 1 star, it deals a whopping 95 damage. Very, very few other units do so much damage at 1 star, let alone when you upgrade it to 2 stars. So that's absolutely amazing. And you know, tankiness isn't an issue either. Unlike some squishier damage heroes like Sniper and Wind Ranger, Troll Warlord has a decent 900 base health points, but more importantly, because he's a warrior, if you have 2 other warriors in your team, you get the +7 armor bonus as well, which you can see on the screen. And you know, that means that you're not going to die anytime soon, and so that's really wonderful. To round it off, Troll Warlord is actually a ranged hero, so you don't need to put him at the front line. All this makes the Troll synergy very powerful because it comes packaged with a powerful damage hero that you can just dump all your damaging items on, and you'll win a lot of battles that way. Now, this isn't an Imba synergy by any means, because there is a weakness, and that is by going for the Troll synergy, you are giving up 3 of your hero slots. You have to play the other 3 Trolls, Witch Doctor, Bat Rider, and Shadow Shaman. All of which are terrible, absolutely terrible. And that is why you saw me losing so many of my battles in the early game when I was playing with Shadow Shaman and Witch Doctor. Again, even at 2 stars, the Shadow Shaman is just ridiculously bad. Witch Doctor, not much better either. If you look at its stats, its attack speed is below average. Ideally, I want to see 1.2 seconds or faster. But, you know, Witch Doctor, super slow attack speed. Mediocre damage, 45 damage is terrible for 1 star, and below average health. Typically you'll see at least 650 on most heroes. Witch Doctor, 550 health. It's not going to last long in the battle. It doesn't get much better at 2 stars either. So being forced to play such under par heroes is what makes you lose when you go for the troll strategy. If you go all in on trolls early, yeah, you're just going to get run over by players who use mechs, warriors, or even druids. Those are stronger units in general. So the thing with trolls is that once you do find your 4 trolls, it gets really insane. And what I found in this particular game, you know, I didn't really realize it until now, but trolls and orcs are actually a match made in heaven. If you see the diagram here, the top row is the 4 trolls that we are going to purchase, and the bottom row are the 4 orcs that exist in the game. If you collect these 8 heroes, you're going to have a strong core, but within there exists other synergies besides the troll and orc synergy. Shadow Shaman and Disruptor are the only 2 shamans in the game. This means that you get the shaman bonus and you get the insta hex at the start of each round, and that's really huge. And you also get a warrior bonus. As I mentioned, Troll Warlord definitely benefits from having extra armor to keep him alive longer. And this whole package comes with 3 warriors exactly, Axe and Juggernaut, adding to that, giving you this +7 armor. And that's amazing. This also leaves you with 2 flex slots. You know, 10 max population is the max you can go. So those 2 flex slots can be spent on warlocks, for example. By getting the Warlock bonus at 3 Warlocks, your entire team will not only have plus 30% attack speed, they will also have plus lifesteal. Attack speed and lifesteal definitely go hand in hand. If you can assemble that combo, you are basically unstoppable, making this one of the most fearful late game combos to deal with. This is really huge DPS, not just on Troll Warlord, but on your entire team, thanks to all the synergies you're getting. So this is what we are trying to aim for, right? We are losing badly in the early game, but if and when we do assemble all these heroes, we are going to be unstoppable. Now that's a very big if. On the screen you see my journey throughout this game, and you know, the round by round breakdown of each battle, starting from round 4 onwards. The first column states the round number. The second column states my chess player's level. The third column shows the amount of HP I lost per battle. If I won, then it would be a blank space. And finally, the last column states the total amount of HP out of 100 that my chess player has. You will, at first glance, you'll notice some things. Firstly, I am not maintaining much of a win streak or a lose streak for that matter. Right? A more skilled or proficient auto chess player would try to maintain a lose streak if they are behind so that they can generate extra income. But I never really was in a fortunate enough position to do so. My streaks kept getting punctuated by wins here and there. Some player disconnected halfway, so whenever I matched up against the disconnected player, I got a win that would break my lose streak. So I wasn't really generating good income either. The wins were few and far between, and from round 17 onwards, you will actually notice I went on a hot losing streak that made my run look like it was going to be over very soon. You know, I lost 5 PvP battles in a row. The 20th round, the underlying rounds actually don't really count because they are creep rounds, rounds 10, 15, and 20. The other thing you'll notice is that you need to build a lineup that is strong enough to take on these creep rounds. You will notice that I won against the Wolves on round 15 and the Full Box at round 20, and this is very important. By losing to neutrals, you are doing 2 things. Firstly, you are not gaining item drops from the neutrals, which is a very big deal. Items can seriously help you gain an advantage in the late game. And secondly, you are unnecessarily losing health points. Right, because creeps do not contribute to your win or lose streak. They simply take away health points for nothing if you lose to them. So you need to maintain a strong enough lineup to deal with the creeps. In fact, creeps are usually a very good benchmark of whether your team is good enough to make it to the next phase of the game. So it's very important that you actually try to win these waves. You know, so much so that I actually leveled up on round 15, the Wolves round, just to make sure that I won against those creeps. Speaking of leveling up, on the EXP level column, where you see the chess player's level, I also put in brackets 1 up, 3 up, and 5 up. That the number up signifies the number of times I hit the EXP up button. The number of times I tried to level up. So on round 15, for example, I spent 15 gold hitting the button 3 times to get from level 6 to level 7, and at round 19, I hit the button 5 times, spending 25 gold to go all the way up to population level 8. And this aggressive leveling up, as I mentioned right at the beginning, is so important because it increased the chance of me for finding the elusive $4 pieces, right? Because I knew that my strategy was to go for orcs and trolls, so Disruptor and Troll Warlord both being $4 pieces requires me to level up high enough such that the chance of me seeing Troll Warlord or a Disruptor from the shop would be raised. It's still very elusive though. I only found the Troll Warlord at round 23. Had I not played so aggressively, had I not leveled up so aggressively, I would have lost a lot more HP on the earlier battle rounds, and I probably would have died by the time I reached round 23 to find the Troll Warlord. Another important point is that at no point at all until round 23 did I opt to do the reroll. As a general rule of thumb, you should never exercise the reroll option unless your health is in the danger zone below 30% HP. Because it's just a waste of money. You really should be spending that money leveling up instead, because it gives you far better long-term benefits, right? Your population caps increase, so you lose less health during battles. The chance of you seeing higher level units is higher, and so on. Now we'll dive back into the game. I want to show you how uphill of a battle it was in the few rounds before I found my Troll Warlord, right? Just to keep stock of everything. Right now I have 3 Orcs, a Beastmaster, an Axe, 2-star Axe, and a Disruptor. But it's a level 1 Disruptor. And I have 3 of my 4 Trolls, obviously missing the big Troll Warlord. Right, until I find the Troll Warlord, my team doesn't have the attack speed bonus, which is causing me to lose a lot of my battles. I'm now in the danger zone, below 30% HP. So I'm actually starting to reroll a bit here, getting really desperate trying to find the Troll Warlord. I buy a few heroes. Most importantly, I am actually running a TA. This is a $4 unit that is a very good DPS unit. Serving as the interim replacement until I can find my dear Troll Warlord. It will have to do, right? We really need some good damage because the Trolls right now by themselves don't do a lot of damage, neither do my Orcs. I also got myself a Tide Hunter so that I can, you know, at least mitigate some of my opponent's damage by, means of crowd control, stun them so that I have more time to whack on the heroes. This is round 22, this is 1 round before I found my Troll Warlord. I'm still taking some damage, at least it's 8 damage, it's not double digit damage. But it has me really worried. I really need to find my Troll Warlord now, and I'll dip below, you know, as low as 20 gold if I so must. Right. I also have a Kunkka on the bench. You'll notice that, you know, when all else fails, just go for the best units and hope that they will cause you to lose less. Here I finally find my 2-star Beastmaster. It took me 23 rounds to find a 2-star Beastmaster, but there you go. All my opponents were actually taking my Trolls and my Orcs, so it was a really, really rough game. Right, so I finally have 2 stars on most of my things, and I reroll, and I saw the Magic Troll Warlord. So immediately that goes in, and out goes my interim TA, which has no synergy with the rest of my team, but hey, you know, I needed the damage earlier on. So the Troll goes in, and now you see all my heroes are going to have glowing red hands. They all have the Troll buff, and if you look at the battle, compare it to rounds 21 and 22, this is so different. I'm actually doing damage. My enemy heroes are dropping faster than my own heroes. It was like a 180 transformation. From this point on, I basically started winning battles, right? That is the power of completing your Troll synergy. Of course, I wouldn't recommend that you single-mindedly go for a single synergy, waiting on a single hero just like I did. By right, if you saw my previous videos, you really should be diversifying your options and playing according to what the shop gives you. But I was kind of forced into a corner with this particular game because these were the heroes that I was given, and it only made sense to go for Trolls and Orcs. So really my mission was to just tank and, you know, hang in there until I found the Troll Warlord. Because in some games, you just won't see that $4 unit. Whether you're a mage player looking for Keeper of the Light, whether you are an assassin player looking for the TA, or if you're me, a troll player looking for the Troll Warlord. Especially if your opponents are going for the same $4 unit as you, sometimes you just will never see it over the course of the game. And that can make or break your game. So the best thing you can do is to hang in there for as long as you can, and, you know, conserve your blood or conserve your HP by losing battles with as small of a margin as possible. Now, while I continue playing video of me trampling over my opponents with my newfound power, I'd like to actually talk about a subtle point that can make the difference in battles, and that is positioning. Specifically, I like to discuss positioning with ranged damage heroes. We're talking about DPS heroes like Shadow Fiend, that's the most common one, but also Sniper, Windrunner, Luna, and in this case, Troll Warlord. So the thing with ranged heroes is that they tend to have less health than melee heroes. Obviously, to make up for the fact that you know, they can attack from more squares away, they are given less health. And this is usually not an issue, because typically any sensible person would put their ranged heroes behind their melee heroes. However, if you notice that a fair few of your opponents are going for assassins, that can easily cause you trouble. Because assassins are known for jumping to your backline and assassinating your ranged heroes before they get their full damage potential off. And that is often a very big problem. So to counter that, you observe the way I position my heroes. All my ranged heroes are in the back line, and they are clumped together. What this does is that it leaves no square. You know, this is a chessboard. It's an 8x8 grid of 8 by, there are 8 squares on each row and column. It leaves no squares for the opponent assassins to jump to. And that's very key, right? So in this game, I noticed that there were a couple of my opponents going for assassins. You might notice later that there's a super scary opponent later on that has a 3-star Morphling, 3-star Queen of Pain and stuff. But anyways, assassins are a problem, and you see there's an assassin right at the back of my lines right now. Enemy lines, the Viper. Well, thankfully it died before it could get any damage off. But the point here is, by clumping all your ranged heroes at the back, in the corner, without any open squares, the chances of your ranged heroes surviving are much higher, because there are no spaces for enemies, assassins to jump to get their melee attacks off. And that's huge. That is a very important point. I actually mispositioned a little. My most important damage unit is the Troll Warlord, and it really shouldn't be exposed. Right now it's exposed. There is an empty square next to it, the square behind the axe. I'm now trying to fill that up, I think. Nope, I don't. I just formed my 3-star Shadow Shaman. Right, I knew I could get 3 stars on the Shadow Shaman because I was scanning my opponents earlier, and I saw none of them were going for Shadow Shaman. So, a very easy 3-star for me. And pretty good as well. I mean, it's not the best 3-star unit, but the hex duration increases from 6 to 8 seconds. It basically removes one entire unit from the battlefield, along with the Shaman synergy, removing another unit from the battlefield altogether, which is really strong. Now you see, my positioning is going to cause me problems. As you see, my Troll Warlord here is actually quite exposed and actually dies before the end of the battle. And that happens when, you know, I leave an empty space next to the Troll Warlord. So it takes assassin damage, which wasn't enough to kill my Troll Warlord, but the remainder of the AoE damage, you saw a Kunkka Bolt come out, a Wind Ranger Power Shot come out, and those nukes were enough to take down my Troll Warlord. So you should always expect your ranged heroes to take AoE damage from, you know, Kunkka Bolt, Tide Hunter Ultimate, and so on. But if they're getting assassinated as well, then you have a problem, right? We cannot have that happen. So yeah, so I think later on I'll realize my mistake and adjust the position of my Troll Warlord, but for now it's not in the best position. The other aspect of positioning you actually notice is that I'm putting my disabling heroes in front. This is a very important point as well. Your heroes regenerate mana when they attack or when they get attacked. For disabling heroes, you want their disables, your Tidehunter Ultimate, your Disruptor skills, to go off as early in the battle as possible. When there are still lots of enemy heroes, by disabling them then, you are preventing a lot of damage from coming over to your team, and you are hitting the maximum number of enemy heroes. What this means is you actually want to put your disablers in the front line, as I lost 3 health to a level 2 Dragon Knight. Pretty strong unit here. So that got me pretty spooked. I don't have a lot of health left. You know, I'm winning my battles, but I cannot afford to lose another battle. So you start seeing me scramble and randoming from the shop a bit. But anyway, you'll notice that my Disabler heroes, the Tidehunter and the Disruptor namely, are all in the front line. This is to allow them to get their attacks, their ultimates off as early on in the battle as possible. Right, stun your enemies, silence your enemies, do all the AoE damage before the opponent does theirs. You also notice that I put Void Stone on my Disruptor so that it will get the AoE off faster. You see here, yeah, we are getting hit, and now the Tidehunter ultimate comes off, the Disruptor ultimate comes off, and that basically shuts off my opponent. And that's how we win. The Troll just cleans house here. The Troll nearly dies to the Assassins though. Yeah, the Troll dies here. So yeah, again, positioning mistake by the Troll. So even though Disruptor's a ranged hero, you actually want it in front because you want it to throw out its Disruptor ultimate early on in the battle. And you don't really have to worry about it dying before it can cast its skill, because with the Orc synergy, with 4 Orcs, it has more than enough hit points to live and cast its skill before it gets shut down. So that's quite important. So right now I have a lineup of 9 heroes, 4 Orcs, 4 Trolls as previously discussed, and the last hero is Tide Hunter. Doesn't synergize with the rest of my team, it's just there for crowd control. Now I realize my mistake and I reposition my Troll Warlord to be in the inside so that it won't get assassinated. I'm also collecting hero $5 units at this point. It's not, even though I have the strongest synergy in the game, it's no time to be complacent. As I mentioned, Warlocks are very tempting. So I'm buying the Enigma here in the hopes that I can get double Warlock as well. That's a possibility. But it seems like more likely I'll be going for triple Gyrocopter. A 2-star Gyrocopter would be good. I found 2 copies of Gyrocopter in the shop. So a third one would mean that I'm going to find space for it on my table. Right now, a 1-star Gyrocopter and a 1-star Enigma are not good enough reasons to swap out the 9 heroes that I currently have on the table. So I found lots of damage items from this creep wave, the lizards, and they all go on my Troll Warlord. Soon you'll notice that because of the items that were dropped by the last creep wave, my Troll Warlord actually now has a Desolator. Minus 15 armor to attack targets. That is insane. Yeah, so I'm just melting my enemies right now. If you look at the DPS chart, Troll Warlord really is through the roof, just carrying me here. Right, to recap on positioning, hero positioning, everything in the corner against assassins. You don't want to do this against heavy AoE lineups like mage teams and, players spamming things like Tide Hunter and Kunkas, because, then all your heroes will get hit by the AoE. Against those lineups, you probably want to spread your team out more. Right, here you'll see that I finally find my 3 Gyrocopters. One interesting technique that you may have briefly saw was that I bought a Lich from the store before re-rolling. So the way the shop works is that the more of a unit that has been bought, the lower the chances of it appearing. So by buying the Lich, I reduce the chances of Liches appearing as a $5 unit in the shop. This indirectly increases the chances of Gyrocopter appearing as a $5 unit in the shop. Because there are fewer copies of Liches, you're more likely to see a Gyrocopter. So that was what I was going for there. And finding the level 2 Gyrocopter was very important, because that gave me all the reason to spend the rest of my money leveling up to the max level and then putting the Gyrocopter on the table. Level 2 Gyrocopter is sick, just super sick. Right, another pro tip, if you have heroes with the dwarf, is it dwarf? I think it's dwarf. Basically either sniper or Gyrocopter. They both have ridiculous attack range due to their their class or race or whatever it's called. So with those heroes, you almost always want to put them in one of the 2 back corners, so that the chance of them getting hit by AoE skills or assassins is as low as possible. So you see my Gyrocopter is very well protected, it's right in the corner, so no one's going to hit it, and as a result it can get lots of attacks off, get that nice Gyrocopter ulti off. We are doing very good work here. Right, and this is where we start racking up our 5-win streak. We should be winning every single battle from here on. Again, with 18% health being in the danger zone, losing a single battle can easily cost us the game, and we really don't want that to happen. Now here you'll see me do something really interesting. I'm scanning my opponents, not for their lineups, but for the amount of money they have. Pro tip, you can look at the amount of gold your opponent has by clicking on their chess player. Their mana bar, the bar below the blue bar below the health bar, will show you how much money they have. I checked my opponents, you can rewind the video to see it, but 2 of my opponents had $40-ish and 1 opponent had $4. So this tells me that 2 players are on income level 4, meaning that they get 4 income every turn from interest, and 1 person's on income level 0. They're getting no interest at all. And this is important for me because I want to be earning more interest than my opponents, right? As a general rule of thumb, given 2 players that have roughly the same power level in terms of their lineups, the one with more interest will win, because with more interest you can afford to reroll more to find those 3-star units with greater certainty. So yeah, that is what I want to do. I want to position my interest such that it's higher than my opponents. Even though I have less money than my opponents, you know, now I only have 30 something gold, while my opponents have 40, maybe even 50 something gold. I am in the driver's seat because unlike them, I actually have a win streak, and the win streak is giving me +2 if not +3 gold every turn. So I'm definitely making more money than my opponents as long as I keep winning battles, which I clearly am. This battle isn't even close, right? We are winning by, what is this margin? 9-0 with no summons. We are not playing any heroes with summons. That is just crazy, right? We are completely steamrolling our opponents here to the point where it's now a 1v1. I'm up against a player who has a very strong win streak early on, but they have been losing as of late. However, we are still, you know, feeling pretty dicey because we only have 18% health. We still have to chew through the 66%. So that's a little nasty. Once again, I check on my opponent. Here I see they have 38 gold to my 49 gold by checking their mana bar. So at this point I know that, you know, I have the lead in terms of interest. I have the lead in terms of win streak economy. So with a more powerful economy than them, I will be able to afford more $5 units. I should be able to close out this game. It's just a matter of time. Now here you're about to see a very curious and unexpected thing happen. Now, I was holding on to a single Lich earlier on because, as I said, you know, I wanted to hold on to $5 units so that I can increase the chances of seeing other $5 units that I want. But then the shop presented me with 2 more Liches. So I found myself with a 2-star Lich for absolutely no reason at all. Right? I didn't want a 2-star Lich. I don't have Undead or Mage synergy at all. But a 2-star Lich is freaking powerful. All the $5 units are super powerful at 2 stars, so I can't not run it. Now, I had a few options here. I could swap out the Tidehunter for the Lich. They both don't synergize with my team, but Tidehunter is so important. That AoE stun is very, very important. So I swapped something else out instead. I think I took out the Disruptor. Because the Disruptor was only 1 star. And then if you look at the bottom left corner, you see that my opponent actually won against me. I won against my opponent, but my opponent also won against me. And that's not good, right? We want to kill our opponent, we need our opponent to lose against us. So swapping the Disruptor out actually let our opponent win without losing any HP that round, and that is bad. So, you know, we can't have that, so we are taking our Lich back for now. We'll put the Disruptor in as we prepare for round 40, which is the Trolls, the neutral round. Right? Meanwhile, you know, I'm sitting here just thinking about how I can incorporate the Lich into my team. As I said, the 4 Orcs and the 4 Trolls are non-negotiable, right? They are so important to my strategy. So that only leaves 2 flexible slots, but they are already taken by the 2-star Gyrocopter and the 1-star Tidehunter, both of which I badly need. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem. That is definitely a bit of a problem. Whoops, yeah, it's not the troll round yet. Yeah, you saw the moment I swapped out the Lich for the Disruptor, I started winning those battles again. My opponent lost to me and they are now down to 35%. But I really want to play that Lich. So I went to the shop and grabbed myself some undead heroes, right? I found 3 Necrophorces off the top of the shop. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. We are going to put the 2 undead heroes out. We have a 2-star Necrophorce and a 2-star Lich for the undead synergy. Suddenly all my enemy heroes have -5 armor. I think that seems like a good enough justification to remove the Beastmaster and the Juggernaut from my lineup. So now I'm only running 2 Orcs instead of 4 Orcs. But I still have the Disruptor ultimate, the big AoE, still have the big AoE in Gyrocopter, still have the big AoE with Tidehunter, and now we have the Lich ultimate bouncing around right now, dealing with the last 2 trolls there. And we also have Necrophos for the undead synergy. All my opponents have -5 armor. So this is truly playing to what the shop gives me. I never wanted to go down the undead route, but the shop just gave me 3 Liches and said, here you go. Have fun, right? So we made it work. We tried to get the undead synergy going. No warlock synergy here, sadly, but we have the undead synergy, and that is kind of suitable as well. After all, a lot of our heroes are physical based. Gyrocopter, lots of physical damage. And of course, our Troll Warlord, our main source of DPS. You look at the charts, 249 DPS for Troll Warlord. Yeah, that -5 armor definitely coming in handy here. Here I'm just building up to my 3-star Beastmaster. I think a 3-star Beastmaster would do a lot more work than the 2-star Axe that's out right now. So we are just three Beastmasters short of that. Right, this is super late game right now. I mean, it's basically end game here. We are all looking for 3-star units. I'm also looking for my 2-star Tide Hunter. I'm 1 Tide Hunter away from finishing my 2-star Tide Hunter. That would be really nice. As my opponent loses to me once again, going down to 7%. We now have Flying Courier because we have been winning lots of battles. We find our 7th Beastmaster here. Right, and we continue rolling on. We still have maximum gold, 50 gold. We might as well just spend it here. I see lots of duplicate heroes I already have. Gyrocopter, Lich. I know I can't get any of those to 3-star. I'm just focusing on Beastmaster and hello, Tide Hunter. There we go. Our 2-star Tide Hunter is finally online, giving us another power boost. Our opponent is trying their best to rearrange their entire lineup. They have 3-star on their 3 core assassins. Morphling, Phantom Assassin, and Bounty Hunter are all 3 stars. And our lineup only has a single 3-star in the Shadow Shaman. But it doesn't matter, because the assassins were not able to penetrate to my DPS backline. They weren't able to focus down the troll. Instead, with my massive crowd control and my heavy DPS hitters, you know, I just won the game. I can't say enough about how important crowd control is. This means disables and silences skills such as Disruptor's ultimate, Tide Hunter's ultimate, Shadow Shaman's Hex ability, the Shaman synergy, adding another Hex. You know, just completely shutting down my opponent's heroes allows my team to have enough time to burn through the hit points of my opponents before they could do the same to me. So that's the comeback of the century for you. I may have exaggerated a little, but honestly, being in last place for most of the early game and then turning the tables on the entire field feels so good. Gotta agree with that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.